Hello, welcome to Analyzing Music Lyrics by Angel Dee. Today we are going to begin by analyzing the lyrics of the track Throwback by Angel Dee. You can find Throwback on Spotify as I am, displaying now, and on other music streaming platforms. Don't forget, this is Analyzing Music Lyrics by your boy, Angel Dee. And today I am beginning by analyzing Throwback by Angel Dee, the music artist. So, Throwback is a single that was released on the 6th of September 2025, just last year, via DistroKid. It's a song that lasts for 2 minutes 20 seconds. It is also a track that is included in Angel Dee's Heart and Soul album that was released on the 31st of October 2025. Okay, as you can see, the track has enjoyed about 34,000 plus streams on Spotify. Okay, so we go straight to analyzing the lyrics of this track by Angel Dee. So I'm going to display the lyrics now. So here's the beginning of the lyrics, but before we begin the analysis, let's listen to the introduction of the track.
Days in the rainy, boys and girls with they play with they happy. Days in the rainy, boys and girls with they play with they happy.
Okay, so the track begins with the lines. Back in the days in the rain, boys and girls with they play with they happy. Okay, and that is to say the artist is reminiscing, okay, going back in the days where boys and girls used to play in the rain and in the streets, without, differences, without saying I'm a boy, I'm a girl, they played together and they were always happy, even while they play in the rain. Okay, and then you have those three lines repeated in the introduction, or what serves as a bridge all through the track. Then it moves from that point to the chorus. Let's listen to the chorus. Okay, as we can see, the chorus is a repetition of two lines. Obani Adawojo, Obani Afagun. Now, in Yoruba, okay, Oba means king. So the king says we should bring our hands together. Okay, that's the first line. And Obani Afagun, the king says we should, retain bringing our hands together. Bringing our hands together, signifies unity. And the king says we should remain in unity. Unity should be what? Elongated. Okay, Obania Fagun. Okay, that is repeated all through the chorus, which is about 8 to 16 bars, so to say, and Angel Dee then moves straight into verse 1. So let's listen.
It's fun to say, in my memory, in my gallery, even in my memory. Growing up was fun in the hood, Shama me. But nowadays, everyone be your enemy. I remember when we used to play with our strategy, getting the street burning off so much energy. I remember Uchenda, I remember Balaji, I remember Aike, I remember Ozioma, I remember Abiba, Bibi me to find back. If it my guy, put me into my chef. Music no be therapy, I no go sing now. If I lead us no testimony, I no go vex now.
Okay, so we just listened to the verse 1 of the track, and the verse 1 begins this way. Childhood fantasy in my memory. in my gallery, even in my armory. So here, the artist is bringing back, the fantasies of his childhood. Says, in my memory, gallery, and armory. Memory, gallery, and armory are storage devices. Memory, stores, experiences. Gallery stores, pictures and artistic, works, as the case may be, and armory stores weaponry. Okay, so it says, growing up was fun in the hood. Shema Botemi. Growing up was fun in the streets where he grew up, and he's saying, would you listen to me? He's trying to pass a message across. And then he goes ahead to say, but nowadays, everyone be your enemy. Okay, so in the streets back then, children of the poor and the rich used to mingle, playing, irrespective of their gender, of their social class, and all of that. But today, because of the state of insecurity and the way our society has, destroyed certain cultural values, is saying everyone is your enemy. You don't know who to trust anymore. Back then, you could leave your kids with your neighbors, but these days, the opposite is the case. Then it says, I remember when we used to play without strategy. So kids gather in the street to play without coming up with any form of strategy. They just come with their innocence. They know they're going to catch fun with their mates in the street. Kids in the street burning off so much energy. So they come and then they play, they burn off the negative energy, and they go back and become better children. As it is said, Jack, all work without play makes Jack a dull boy. And then he goes on to say, I remember Uchena, I remember Bolaji, I remember Ike, I remember Ozioma. These may have been his friends growing up in the hood. And then Abiba in particular, he says, I remember Abiba, Bibi me too fine, but maybe Abiba was a little girl that Angel Dee was eyeing, the beautiful damsel he was eyeing, while growing up. Ife, my guy, me too fine, me too chef, means Ife, my guy, that used to be a comedian, that makes jest, in the street and makes people happy. Then he goes on to say, if music no be therapy, I no go sing now. That is, if music is not therapeutic, I would not be singing. So music helps, to take, people's sorrow away. Music is life. If our leaders know they steal money, I no go vex now. And that is to say that the reason he is not happy about that childhood, fantasy that has been taken away from Nigerian kids, is that the leaders, are used to stealing, public funds, and that is what makes him agitated, and that is what makes him, put this song together. And then the chorus begins again. The chorus begins, and then see the chorus, and then we go back in the days in the rain, which is more like a bridge, as I said before. And after that, we then come back to the chorus. So boys and girls, we dey play, we be happy. The chorus plays again for another 16 bars, and then after the chorus, we then move on to the second verse. In the second verse, Angel Dee addresses the president. He says, Mr. President, Ewa Shema Gbotemi, Mr. President, please come. Would you listen to me? And the message he has for Mr. President is that children of the poor no fit play in the streets again. The kids of the poor can no longer play in the street the way they used to play freely in the streets. And it says that's because if they are not kidnapped, they are used. Means if they are not kidnapped, they are used negatively, to carry out certain ills in society. And the artist is not happy about this. He says, back in the days for the streets we dey fight crime. Back in the days in the streets, people used to be crime fighters. Okay, you don't really need the police to begin fighting crimes. They know their neighbors. They could tell what is happening at a particular time. And as a result, children were free to play in the streets. But then he goes on to say, but nowadays we steal money, they steal time. Nowadays we are more interested as the adult, especially those in the political space. We're interested in stealing money. And as a result of stealing money, siphoning funds, we are also stealing time. Okay, the precious time that the kids are supposed to use, in the streets, grow up, in the society and become better people, that precious time has been stolen as a result of stealing the funds we are supposed to put into their development as children. And then he then says, but there is still time. Okay, there is still time for us to what? Go back to the basics, go back to, upholding our cultural values, back to the future. So our future is in the past. The things that we've neglected in the past, we should go back to those ideals. Okay, and then after that, he then, okay, so let's listen to that before we.
Children of the born, if you play in the streets again, they no kidnap them they use them. Back in the days for the streets we dey fight crime, but nowadays we dey steal money, dey steal time. But there is still time, back to the future. Oya Balande, Basita, Oya Kaju, Emanuela, Basita, Kaloshere, Kaloshe Tente, this one no be bente, Eba make me sule, Oya Maswebe, Kaloshe Suwe, La Sorrow away.
Okay, so after addressing the president, Angel Dee goes on to call on the kids in the streets, call on Bolanle, come out, let us dance. Emanuela, come out, let's go and play. Let's play 10-10. This is not Ben 10. Means 10-10 is the game between two people. Okay, they use the hands, the clapping of the hands, and the movement of the feet, they go at loggerheads, and then one person emerges the winner at the end of the day. It's not like Ben 10 that you just see on the screen, but this is a street game, something that makes us happy, something that brings us together as children. We get to know one another, as children within the same neighborhood when we come out to play together. Then he says, Sule is more like this kid who is always on his own, who is lonely, and who might be depressed. Okay, call Sule out. He shouldn't be on his own. Okay, let's play and then laugh our sorrow away. Okay, so that is all on Angel Dee's Throwback. It's a track that reminiscences some of the wonderful memories of the past in his environment and as it is across Nigerian societies. He's saying that these things are no longer in existence, and is calling on the president, okay, as the leader of the nation, to please ensure that laws are upheld and leaders stay away from corruption, so that our societies could grow of the way they should, and our children could have better future. All right, I remain Angel Dee. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel on all the social media platforms. Just search Angel Dee so that we could bring you more of analyzing music lyrics. So tell me, which artist lyrics do you want me to analyze next on analyzing music lyrics? Okay, thank you. This has been a lovely edition. I look forward to the another edition of this interesting analysis. See you at the next one. Bye.